Well, as long as you put the buzzword of AI into a press release, I'm going to show up. So I'm here at the TEWKE booth with Piers Daniell, and he's going to tell us about their smart switch. I'm sorry,
Intelligent smart switch.
Intelligent smart switch. No dumb one.
Exactly. So we're from London. We spent the last few years developing what we believe is the next generation of light switch. And the reason we're building it is because we want to build a smart grid. And the best way of doing a smart grid is to control energy within the home. So what we do is we replace any light switch, so in America, Europe, and it becomes an intelligent sort of Control 4 Lutron style home automation platform. And meanwhile, in the background, so you've got really cool, you've got lots of sensors, so we've crammed our light switch full of 9 sensors. And what it gives us is a really good insight as to how you live in your home and what you're doing. So automation is super simple. 5-year-old and 95-year-old can use it without instruction. But behind the scenes, we're using all this data to understand, is your humidity right? Do you need to open a window? Have you got molds? All the elements that actually become part of how do you create an efficient, safe home.
So where is it getting the data that it's displaying?
So we've got all that in the light switch itself.
Oh, the humidity in the air quality?
So everything is in this device here, so I can just take this off. So everything is built in, so we manufacture this in London, and the idea is that when we come to the US, we'll manufacture in the US as well.
So what he's got in his hand, some people are only listening, is what, maybe 3.5 inches across square?
It's like, we talk about it being half an iPhone.
There you go.
So it's
maybe a big iPhone.
Just an OLED screen, we can't call it a tablet. Because in Europe, they'll make us put a USB port into it if it's called a tablet.
Right, it's got a USB-C.
So it's not a tablet. So as you can see, it's telling us we have to put it back onto the dock. So we replace the light switch with something called a wall dock, and it still has physical buttons on it, so you can still switch the lights on and off. Okay. So you don't need to worry about technology taking over your life. And then you put the wall dock, the panel back onto the wall dock, and then it just connects up. It meshes with the other light switches in the house using a technology called Thread.
Oh yeah.
And then we're Matter compatible so that we can then talk to other devices within your home. And then what we do is in the background, we look at how your energy consumption is. So in the UK, we're talking to your smart meter, we're talking to your plugs, so smart plugs, and we're then starting to optimize your energy consumption. So like my mother used to nag me to turn the lights off or turn the temperature down, we're doing all of that continuously in the background. And in London, we're saving about 50% of the energy cost just by installing our light switches. So that's not installing insulation, that's not installing solar, heat pumps, batteries. Just by putting our light switches in, we're saving half the cost of the energy consumption in the home. About 30% of the actual consumption is being saved. And so for us,
I'm going to challenge you a little bit. The lights today, since they're LEDs
they don't save you very much at all.
Right. That's not. I don't see how you do 30%.
Lots of little micro savings, and then obviously we talk to thermostats, so we can control those, and we talk to white goods.
I flick on my electric oven, and all that savings gone.
It has, but also in the UK, for example, which I think is coming to the US, is time of day tariffs.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, well, not all states do yet, but in the UK, we've got it down to 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, the tariff changes. But as a consumer, I can understand that because I'm a geek. My wife, my children don't give a shit about that sort of thing. Sorry, apologies for profanity. They don't care about those sorts of things. So what you need is a device that's automatically managing that. So the feedback we give to the user is, wait 20 minutes, you'll save $2. And what we're trying to do is nudge people, in the same way you're nudged into doing recycling, we try and nudge you into actually changing your behavior. And by changing your behavior, 60% of all consumption in the home is user-driven.
Okay, so if I'm deciding when to run the dishwasher, for example, I tried to turn it on at 8:40, it's going to go, man, if you just waited till 9, that would cost you this much less.
Exactly, and what we're doing in London is we're talking to the smart socket behind your dishwasher, so when it actually turns on, we turn it off. And most washing machines remember their status, so the moment the power gets turned back on again, they continue their cycle. So we're turning unsmart devices smart.
So it sounds like we have to have a lot of outlets put into the house to have this work.
And that's our next product is actually the plug socket. So really smart, very nice plug socket, LED ring in it. It glows different colors depending on energy consumption. Help train you again. So that for us the ecosystem is light switch and plug socket. That's our control. Everything else we just talk to. using an API or Matter.
I'll tell you what else would be great is if you had, say, your TV and your DVD player or your Apple TV plugged into an outlet that was smart, that knew that you don't watch TV in the middle of the night, and it turned off all those little of those little LEDs, right? So we've got about 1 million of them just in our bedroom.
So we reckon 10% of all energy in the home is just passive power.
Right.
So it's just, we saw a PlayStation 3 consumes 22 watts of energy off.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So just 22 watts all the time, just being off, not being used. And that's where the AI bit comes in, because we use something called neurosymbolic AI, where we're...
Say that again, that's a fun word.
Neurosymbolic. So it's where basically we teach the AI engine some basic rules, but 90% of its learning comes from the user in the home. And it's about your home, not about my home. So we're not interested in big data, so it's the opposite model of AI. What we're interested in is your individual behavior processed locally on the switch, understands your behavior, and by your interaction with the switch, you teach the AI engine. So if we do something and you don't like it and you switch it back, we learn that. And that becomes, and then the next part is about giving you really natural language communication. So, open a window, turn the heating down, turn off this, turn on that. And that, you'll save $2, you'll save $5. And that becomes part of, then you learn it.
It seems like that's sort of gamifying it too, right?
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's why it's all like lots of pretty colors. But in a way that's classy. We're bringing a bit of class to this. So we want it to be a sexy product that, if you got it under the Christmas tree, you would be happy. Not upset that your partner's bought you a light switch.
There you go.
Sort of like, think of it as Nest 2.0.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like.
I think Nest would have done the light switch had they not got bought by Google. And I think this is the hardest part. And the really hard part for light switches is that a lot of light switches don't have a neutral wire. So what it means is the lights are in series, so that when the light switch is off, there's no power going through the circuit. So no company has really been able to put technology in a light switch without that neutral wire. You don't know if you haven't got one until you take your light switch off the wall. And what we've done is develop the tech and patented it that allows us to put our technology, straight into any light switch.
Whether it's got a neutral wire or not.
Exactly. So the really unique bit of our proposition is we don't need a neutral wire. And that will unlock the whole marketplace. Whereas, we might have only 5 or 10% of users currently using smart home and certainly automated lighting. We can penetrate 100%.
That's fascinating. So how this is powered from the light switch itself?
Yeah, so everything...
Because you didn't put a USB-C port in it.
No, exactly. So the power comes from the light switch. We use a combination of parasitic power and a battery within our device to basically manage the lighting. But to do that effectively, we've had to make it a really hardcore, low energy supply to the switch. So we've written our own software, we've built our own hardware, so everything is us, just so that we haven't used a third-party software like Android or anything. It's our own operating system, our own embedded code, and that enables us to be super energy efficient.
Now, how much energy does that fancy OLED display use?
Not very much at all, because if you notice, most of it's off. So
most of it's black. There's a light blue ring around the light switch. Right?
Exactly, and actually, if we're not in demo mode like we are now, when you walk away from it, it actually just turns off completely.
So you just tap the screen and it wakes up?
No, we've got a Doppler radar, so as you walk up to it, it comes to life.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
of course you're using Doppler.
Of course we do. We put everything into these things.
You are a geek.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I'm not. My team are. I have a dream, and that's what we're trying to build.
So what questions have I forgotten to ask, other than where did the name TEWKE come from, TEWKE?
So TEWKE came from, because I'm an old romantic, my wife came from a little village in England called Tewkesbury. But trying to start any company, this is probably my 6th company, so I've had a number of exits in the UK. I'm invested in gut health, education, fashion, and technology, and this is my first energy business. But the problem with any company is trying to get a name, and I really wanted a .com, because if you want to go global, you need a .com. And I also wanted to be one syllable and not mean a rude word in Korean or something. So you have to make a word up. So Tewkesbury, TEWKE, I thought I can do that. I hadn't appreciated every nationality is going to call it something else. So I think TEWKE is the preference for Americans on the whole. But TEWKE is a bit like Nike or something else. But anyway.
There you go. So it's TEWKE, and where would people go to find out more about it?
Just TEWKE.com.
That's right. .com. I should have known that.
There we go.
And what's your price on this?
So at the moment we're sort of in our MVP development mode. So we're installing in London in the UK. We are doing another raise, so we're going to come to market in the US hopefully in the summer, and we will manufacture in the US. So we've made everything in house. So we will bring it all to the America. America is going to be the best market for this. I mean, you guys have an amazing. I used to live in Alaska and Colorado when I was younger, so I'll be coming home with my English accent. But the idea is that we bring everything with us. It'll be very very DIY install through third parties and maybe through some larger distribution partners. We've also designed it to be OEM. So if we have a big enough partner, we could give it to them a white label and then use the TEWKE software and platform to then run it.
Very good. This sounds fantastic. I hope you're successful, because it turns out that energy thing, that's a real problem.
It is, and we anticipate $1 trillion is wasted a year on energy consumption.
I think half of it's at my house.
Yeah, probably. Or mine, because I'm not there. They've got everything on running at the moment.
Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you very much.